Hello everyone, here psst.one. Today I'm happy to introduce you Emile Barret. He's a contemporary artist and photographer based in France. He is well known in the scene for the visual for Aïsha Devi, where he built his own world based on integration between digital world and real world in a spiritual way. Those words are created in a virtual reality environment where the audience can travel during the live, and not only. He designed also a video game and various 360 videos. But he will talk about it, so enjoy! How did you start with visuals?
I'm photographer mainly, so I made my study in photography. But before that, my first camera was given by my mother. Like analog camera, I really like also, and I've studied also art history. I mean visual art history. Yeah, like I've always been into this kind of thing, but I was more orientated to more design or like a management of interior, this kind of thing also. But I always wanted to do as much as possible in many different directions. So yeah, visual was also something I really felt I could express myself really intuitively and easily, more than other thing I could do.
Why you were fascinated about the visual to end up to do it?
I mean, I really like the how we can tell stories and like how we can, yeah, it's a different way of expression that is much more also global than with language and like the communication problem. But then also I really like to this kind of collection part more in the photography zone, but like the fact that you can go somewhere and like grab your things from what you see, and like all those unique instants that you can capture is kind of doing the Pokemon style, but in real life with picture. And like I made my studies at ECAL in Lausanne, and there was a kind of a visual communication bachelor. So it was photography, but also like video and a bit of programmation and some graphic design, animation, this kind of thing. So it was already kind of a transdisciplinaire, open to different mediums. And that's something I really wanted to have also, since I came from more the object side and I wanted to be able to move different direction. And then for the more VJ thing, like I started with Aïsha, in fact, and I was doing first her press picture and for her first album and her name. And we made those pictures, and I was just finishing a video game also with friends for an exhibition and residency was going with. And I was like, okay, maybe we can do something like this for a video clip or to experiment also a different kind of image going with music. And I really found that the video game engine like this Unity thing is really powerful because you can really grab so different medium in same thing, like visual, the photography, images, flat images, or more 3D object, or sound, or movement of the character. All those kind of things was really interesting. And then we made a video game together. Yeah, like a kind of long process thing was really based on her work. And then we applied this to the concert and the visual kind of.
What was the process to create it?
I mean, the first live we made was really kind of an extension of this video game and collaboration with the Chinese artist. She's also working with Tianzhuo Chen. Since we toured for the previous show, like we had really great experiences to project also on non-screen surfaces. And we really wanted to kind of improve it also to give much more physicality to the projection. And so that was kind of a point, and we decided to play with multi-projection and to be able to have one screen maybe in center and then to play on the wall, also on the sides, and to have more an immersive space for the person, spectator to be in and to go with the music. And I also really like the fact that you can focus on stage and on Aïsha when she's playing, but then you can also uh, focus on something else and follow your mood and go have a beer, but you can still see something, and then you can still grab something from the show in different point of view. And but here, I mean, we made it's mainly 360 videos first, and I also found solution to put them in the Unity engine. So it was with the new VR upgrade they made, and so we captured in a lot of different locations while touring also. So it was a bit like looking for different spaces and in a way stories to say into the game, into the live. Also, I was reading a lot about our mind eye in a way, and how we represent the thing in our mind, and how we dream, and how we could be half conscious, or those lucid dream things also. And finally I found a few tricks, but that for me was really helped to go closer to this kind of luminescent thing you can have when you visualize in your brain. But I was really, maybe Castaneda, and I read all the books and all the initiation he had, and for me it was also really powerful. I mean, everything is powerful there, but to get to know a bit what was the sorcery and what was the magical, and how finally it's the kind of inner heart that we have to find, and to also represent things that are more invisible. And that's really kind of something I also like in the visual part, is to try to show things that are non-visible.
Go directly to the photography stuff, because as you told, you start like a photographer. You are not a main visual, you're main a photographer than a visual. Compare with your visual work for this kind of event, or for Aïsha in this way, and your work with a still image in a way. How you combine?
Many different ways. I mean, it could be from using images, like still images in the VJ, since with the video game engine, you can really have them in the same. It's kind of, you could look inside the 3D world to a wall where an image is displayed, but then you can have much more than this, because you can have it as big as you want, and it's kind of infinite museum, also the video game thing. And it costs nothing, and you can print as big. You can have it as big as you want, and worldwide. That was also a thing. I was really not into the proper photography with proper frame, a series of picture, a line on the wall. I'm really not like this. Yeah, and then when I do exhibition, it's much more also an immersive experience, and I print on fabric a lot, and quite huge prints, and I because those fabrics are super easy to transport and quite cheap to produce, and then also you can touch them, and you can have a physical interaction with them. You can make them move with the wind. It's crazy. You can project on this. It's so much. I have much more pleasure to use this as a support for the photographic image than doing super expensive print in frame, fancy, and no one touch. Or if there's a ray, we have to destroy it and then produce a new one. I'm it's not for me. And I also don't get the point of this way of doing the photography. For me, it's just money business for the gallery and maybe for the museum, but then there's less interaction. It's really conceptual interaction and less physical. I was really also frustrated that in the museums you can never touch the art. And sometimes I go to museum, I go touch the thing, and don't say it to anyone. and, and yeah, for me, it was really important to connect more with the possibility to be a child in the space and like to do what you want. And even sometimes people steal some of the fabric, and that's the way it happens. And I'm not like angry about it. And
Why you're focused on this to create this kind of world? Also, you told me about the exhibition is a kind of environment you create with your photo. In live, you try to create this environment. Yeah, but it's to move the people in another dimension, your personal dimension.
yeah, my personal dimension, but also, I mean, with Aïsha, I also really try to go in her direction and to see what she say in the music and what she say also in her, like conceptually, or what she want to express, and to really go in her direction. I mean, for those lives, for example, the first live and video game we made was really about like meditation and the opening of the Kundalini chakras. So I was really even more than this one, but really conceptual, like how we put the different symbols and colors and like aspect of like even physicality of the spectator, because at the beginning it was really like you were fixed on the ground in kind of desert, and then the more you go, the more you can jump high, and even at the end there's no more up and down, and you cannot even you fly in the space, and but you cannot recognize the space around. I think it's also I'm doing it because I miss it, and I'm really into a maximalist approach, with the opposite of the minimalist approach. For me, like to have an environment where you have so much not connection, but things that you can see everywhere, like that can grab your attention. It's much more closer that to real life than the white cube.
Yes.
And for me, like the white cube museum with two images in frame, it's more close to the psychiatric hospital for people to force the other to stay in the norm.
Why you choose to produce a video game? Because it's interesting, because you know you have this vision of create a world for people. In a video game, you create a world for a people and make the people travel inside. Yeah, exactly. By a choice or their choice.
Yeah. But as I told you, for me, it's the more total art we can have now, because you can mix so much different mediums. Yeah. And also the fact that the spectator is active and not passive is something really important. Because you have a memory of what you're doing, and then it means you have a physical memory of those things. And it's also with a proper photographic image, you have tiny physical memories, but it's never the same than when you enter a video game. Even if it's just a screen, but because you move inside and you take the decision, you have much more, it has much more impact on you. I mean, I would love to do more proper video games with like a team of people and like to really develop a story and so many things. But also it's kind of fun to really do it like super DIY. And I really learned on YouTube. Like I just took the tutorials and I was just like trying to find a way and spending time nights.
Are you working on a new project?
On yes, so many different things. But I mean, as a maximalist, it's difficult for me to stand at one place and to do one job only. So I have so many different things. Like I have money job for sure as photographer, who are proper money job. I do a picture of coins for like bidding catalogs. I have also an independent music group called Music for Eggplant. We are doing really experimental things. Like we are also all coming from visual arts. So I mean, most of us, we are 8 people in the group, and we do like 8-hour performances, improvisation, and installation. And it's really also trying to go into this total art zone. but more in a crazy way with a lot of interaction with the public, and sometimes we play with babies or this kind of thing. I mean, playing with babies sounds weird. I mean, we prepare the baby to play the music with us, and it's really my space of freedom also, because we are really independent and we are really underground also, but we also move in a bit in between the art zone and the music zone. So we do music for the exhibition and installation for the concert, kind of. And then I also have one thing I work a lot on is an association called Hors Piste, means off the beaten track, and we organize residencies for designers to it's kind of workshop, 1 month workshop, where we select a location a bit unknown in a way, and where we found some really interesting craft, and we create collaboration with craftsmen and designers for a month and a half, and they produce things, and we also all the time invite an editorial team to document in sideways or even do their own project, but the workshop and the process. So I've been also working on this since 2012. I mean, I'm still a volunteer, but it's really interesting, and we made two in Burkina Faso, and the short one was in Greenland. So it's also like traveling and working and meeting the people, and then documenting all these things, doing the picture or the video or any kind of visual. I'm more the photographic editor in the team, so it's really interesting project.
busy guy.
Yeah, never ending
I
story.
appreciate so much.